everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about your 5 senses in the astral realm. Yes, so in the astral realm, you technically have your senses too. So let's just dive right into it. In terms of your vision, number one, like what you see, when you end up in the astral realm is actually a very odd type of feeling. So when you first end up in the astral realm, just from my experience, is that your vision is pretty limited. It's like you feel like you have 2 boards on each side of your eyes, so your vision feels very limited, like unlike in the physical realm where you can actually see more of a peripheral vision. So like that's generally what I have experienced when I venture out into the astral realm. And as a newbie, when you just started to explore these type of realms, you might experience this limited vision because you're used to using your physical eyes, right? And so in the astral realm, you still want to use your physical eyes, but instead of trying to use your physical eyes only, what you should do is that you want to use a whole body sensing. So instead of just looking out from your eyes, when you're using this whole body sensing and just trying to sense other things that's happening in the background, you're able to feel more and to really sense what's actually happening and to see more 300-degree vision. So that's like generally what you will see in terms of your vision. Now, when you're out of your body, generally speaking, what you will see around you is you will see the same thing as you would in the physical realm. So if you're like astral projecting in your bedroom, what you will see in the astral realm is going to be the same copy of what you will see in the physical realm. Now, some of the items might be misplaced because it is a non-physical realm, so I guess things can be distorted in a sense. But generally speaking, if you're not venturing far, in just your bedroom, things will look very similar to what you will experience in real life. Now, some of the weird things you will see in astral realms is that, well, from my perspective and just from my experience, is that when you look up at the ceiling, and this is when you're just getting out of your body, you will see weird symbols running across the ceiling. So like symbols or languages that you don't understand running across the ceiling. These symbols and these languages could be like a black permanent marker type of color, or they could be neon color, like neon green, neon blue, or neon red. So these are just some of the weird phenomenons I have seen in the astral realm, and they're running through the ceiling. So it's kind of like the Matrix. In the Matrix, you're seeing numbers 0 and 1s, right? Like in the Matrix. But in the astral realm, you see these weird symbols running across the ceiling and flying back really fast. So that's just like some of the weird visuals that I have encountered when I ventured out into the astral realm and when I'm looking up or sideways. Now, let's just get to another sense that you have is obviously the sound of hearing, right? You're using your ear, so hearing. So generally speaking, the astral realm, this part is very different from the physical realm, is that the astral realm is complete silence. Now, with that being said, just because it's complete silence doesn't mean there's no sound. Instead of using your ears to hear sound, you're actually sensing things through your whole body. So if there's something coming to you, or if there's a person or a being speaking to you in the astral realm, you can immediately hear it in your mind or your whole body. So you will immediately hear it. And it's not through your ears, it's more like you're sensing it through your body. And so generally speaking, it's completely silence. But some of the weird things I have encountered is also when I'm just about to get out of my body, what I experience is that I'm also able to hear weird static noise in the background. Some other things that I hear radios, like people talking on radios. I also hear like music playing in the background, which is very odd. Also, there's sometimes if there's like, it feels like people are also chattering in the background, maybe in another room or maybe in another room above you if you're living in a condo, or another house beside you, but you're able to hear them talking. Some other weird phenomenon is that I also heard a lot of people gathering around outside, or maybe some people who are gathering in a stadium and hear people talk. So these are some of the sound and hearings like that I got when I was in the astral realm. But generally speaking, if there is a being talking to you, you will directly hear that entity when you're in the astral realm. You'll hear it. It's kind of like telepathy. The entity speaking, you will immediately hear it in your head. Now, moving forward to the third sense, in terms of your smell, in the astral realm, I didn't really get a chance to smell anything. I think it's also because in the non-physical realm, you don't really need your sense of smell, because technically you're not hungry, right? And there's not many organic material in the non-physical realm because everything is non-physical. So even if there's an apple technically in the physical realm, in the non-physical realm, it might not really smell like anything, right? Or like any fragrance. There's no any. I didn't really feel like I experienced any fragrance in astral realm. So that part is like, I'm not able to give you a description about if there's any smell in astral realm. Now moving to the next sense, your taste. Just like with your smell, in the astral realm, you usually don't get like hungry or thirsty. So, and you don't really have, I don't think you had the chance to even experience eating things unless that's what you want to do. I never really, had the opportunity to really want to eat anything or maybe touch something. I just generally, I want to explore the environment around me. And maybe like, if I encounter any entities there, that would be more fun. It's like more of an interaction there, instead of me just trying to interact with a non-anime object. With that being said, now moving to the fifth sense, your touch. So this is actually very interesting. In the astral realm, because everything it is non-physical, is a non-physical realm, right? And your body there is not really made of physical material. It's a non-physical body that you have, like your astral body. Some people call it their star body or spiritual body, right? So when you're in a non-physical body, the funny thing is that when you're trying to touch something, if you still have the mindset of like if you're still used to the fact that you're like what you're experiencing is going to be like in the physical realm, in the astral realm, when you touch something, you will actually still feel the exact touch like the physical realm. So just to give you a description here, when you're about to touch a doorknob in the astral realm, right? Like a round doorknob, metal doorknob, and you try to touch it with your astral body, you will feel like, oh, I'm touching a round doorknob that's like a metal, so it's kind of cold to the touch. So that's like the feeling I got like when you're trying to touch something. Even though it's like you're non-physical, you're still able to feel it. That's because you're trying to sense it with your physical, I guess, senses. But generally speaking, when you're trying to turn a doorknob and you're trying to do something, like carry out an action with your non-physical body, you're going to be unable to open the door. But in the physical realm, you're able to open the door. But in the astral realm, when you're trying to carry out that physical action, you will be unable to open that door. So what you need to do is that in the non-physical realm, the astral realm, is that instead of trying to open the door, what you need to think about is that I can go through the door, I can walk through the door without even like, because you're like non-physical, right? So your body technically, you can just directly go through the door. Now, if you're going through the door, like and traveling through the door, generally speaking, you will go through a barrier. So when you feel it, you will feel that there's a barrier. And just to give you an example, like for me, when I went through a window, I actually felt that I was going through a barrier, and it felt like some sort of like a very cold jelly with with a very sandy texture. But that's just a feeling. Like the coldness is probably from the glass, right? The physical realm, when you're touching a glass window, right? You will feel cold to the touch. So in the astral realm, that's exactly what I felt. Like, it's actually cold. But as my non-physical body is going through the window, I am able to feel that I'm going through a particular barrier, and the barrier feels like some sort of jelly that you're able to go through. So that's basically the feeling of touch in the astral realm. If you're going through any barrier, like whether it's through a wall, metal, or maybe glass, you will feel like they're going through some a dense material. So that's basically the 5 senses in the astral realm, and it's a very weird feeling, especially when you're non-physical and you're trying to do all of these type of actions in the non-physical world. It's a very interesting experience. So if any of you venture out into these realms, definitely take your time there and try to explore a little bit more. One advice I would give you is, instead of trying to carry out physical action, like what you would normally do in the physical realm, like when you're trying to open the door, you put your hand there and you turn the doorknob, right? In the astral realm, what you need to do if you want to get to the other side of the door is that you basically set an intention in your mind and just say that I want to go through the door, and imagine you are on the opposite side of the door. And once you do that, immediately you should be on the other side of the door, and you will feel like you go through a barrier. Sometimes you don't even feel like you go through a barrier, but you will end up on the other side of the door. So if you want to travel fast and travel outside of your immediate environment to other further away places, definitely just use your intention. That's the fastest way to go. So this concludes my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, comments, and like. If you have any questions, leave them in the bottom comments below. I read all comments. And remember, please keep an open mind, and yes, there's actually more than meets the eye. It's not just the physical world. So keep an open mind, and this is Stephanie signing off.